How are you? Well, I'm playing with a dumpling ladle from Italy because today we're going to talk about the history of the dumpling in our three ancient cuisines, China, Greece, and Rome. Who invented the dumpling? I'm glad you asked. You know, we don't know. They probably first appeared in China. By dumpling, we mean a bit of dough with some sort of a filling, or at least a bit of dough that's been boiled. That's the history of the dumpling. We still have some of those primitive dumplings. The Chinese probably had them first, but it's interesting to note that the dumpling probably predated the noodle. Oh, that's a wild sentence. Let me try it again. The dumpling probably predated the noodle. In the old days, they would cook grains until they were sort of, grind grains and then make a mush out of them, and then put them in little balls and boil them in water. A very primitive dumpling. But it was a dumpling. And that's probably the background of what you and I call a dumpling. I think dumplings are wonderful things. Italy has all sorts of dumplings. Tortellini, ravioli, all sorts of dumplings. The Chinese have even more. The Greeks have only a few. But they're wonderful, wonderful things. And the dumplings, what we want to celebrate today. The one dumpling that we should probably talk about in Greece that is probably not really a dumpling is the rolled grape leaf. Because they don't roll things up. The Greeks don't roll things up in dough much, but at one point, when Alexander the Great invaded, where did he go? I don't remember. Oh, he destroyed Thebes. He destroyed Thebes, and when he attacked Thebes, they had nothing to eat. And so they began eating grape leaves. That's how hungry the Greeks were. And they rolled them up with little fillings inside. That's the classic dolmas or dolmades of Greece. So all three of our ancient cultures have what we would call a dumpling. Let me show you some dumplings. I think the most famous dumpling from China is something called the boiled dumpling. It's very simple to make. I'm going to clear off a spot here. We're going to have fun today. We're going to have great fun. Let me find a spot to show you how to roll the dough, because that's the fun part. The dough is primarily flour and a little bit of salt. And see how sticky it is, how gooey? Isn't that nice? You let it sit for a long time. 2.5 cups of flour and a little bit of salt and a cup of boiling water and a little lard. So you get up with something that's rather, well, that'll work for a start. Flour goes on that. And then you must use a small rolling pin. Dumplings are complicated. Dumplings take a lot of time. Remember, in the old days, this was a very primitive food source. And a very safe and wonderful one, because you could put anything you wanted to in a dumpling, any leftover meats or anything you wanted. If things stick to your dumpling roller, I have a little tiny one, isn't this cute? Just be sure and keep scraping it off. See how small this is, my hand? Isn't that a kick? This came with a ravioli gadget I have. But you can find these in gourmet shops. There we are. Little squeak and the whole works. Now, for the filling, I want to put in a bit of the pork shumai filling that I've already showed you. Pork and a bit of soy and ginger, that sort of thing. But I want to add some chopped cabbage or napa to give it that spicy flavor from the north, and perhaps a bit of red pepper sauce. Now, how are we going to form the dumpling? Well, it's very, very simple. As soon as I find a glass of water here, here it is. All right. You need a little bit of water to seal the rascal up. And you must be sure, so you just put a little bit of meat in the center. See this? You see? And seal the edges with water. And you must be sure and press out all of the water, or the thing's going to crash like the Hindenburg. It'll just blow up in the pot, and then finally, you'll just have terrible trouble. Press out all the water. The air, not the water. There you go. Now, you can, if you want to do this formally, you can stand here and crimp them. See what I'm doing? You can crimp them. Or, if you want to play games, you can buy, this is a scream. You can buy a dumpling crimper. Look at this. You see this gadget? And you fold it over, and there it is. Crimps the dumpling. There you are. Well, in any case, this is a Chinese dumpling, and you can serve them several ways. They're boiled. Let me throw some in the pot right now to boil them. You boil them in plain water, and then serve them with a wonderful hot pepper sauce. So we'll just throw some in. So I've already made these, and ouch, boy, that's hot. A little salted water. I think these are fun. You know, the best dumplings I know of are served at Henry Chun's Hunan restaurant in San Francisco. He's on Sansom Street, that is Sansom, S-A-N-S-O-M-E, not Samson, but Sansom Street, just off of Broadway, near Chinatown. Oh, it's wonderful. He's a great cook. He came from the village of Hunan in China, and they make very good dumplings, along with everything else, I promise. I'm going to stir those for just a second because you don't want to allow dumplings to stick together when they're boiling. So let's see, and they'll begin to float in just a moment. There we are. And while they're doing fine. While they're cooking, let me show you another method of cooking the same dumpling. And this one is called, got it, this one is called the pot sticker. Don't you love that name? And the theory is that the name stems from the fact that it sticks to the pot. Well, if you use a Teflon-lined pan, I really prefer Silverstone, but if you a non-stick surface, you're not going to have any trouble at all. So let me show you what I've got. In my pan, I have browned on one side. Can you see these? On one side, I have browned the dumplings. Same one I just threw in the pot. Brown them on the bottom in a little bit of oil. Now I'm going to bring my temperature up. You should do this all at once, but I have to cheat a bit, you know. I always cheat when you come to my kitchen, but I try and be honest in my cheating anyhow. I try to tell you I'm cheating. Put the fresh-made dumplings in a pan with a little bit of oil and let them brown on the bottom. Now you want medium heat for this, not a high heat. And then we're going to put some chicken broth in there, and that will help cook the top part of the dumpling, which was not cooked because it wasn't brown in the pan. Got that? You don't, huh? Well, let me show you. I don't understand it either. I'll show you in a minute here. Get my fire going. Now, another thing you can do by way of rolling these. There, everything's going fine, I think. Let's see. Yes, we're doing fine. All right. Another way you can, a quick trick is to go out and buy, oh, this is a cheater's method, but you can do it anyhow. You can go out and buy round noodles. You see, these are noodles that you buy in any Chinese market. Most supermarkets have them too. They're called sometimes shumai filling noodles or something like that, you see. And you can do the same thing that I have just done. Fold them up, or if you would like, here's a favorite in our family. The boys like this, and they call them cigar noodles. You buy wonton. That one's dead. These dry out in a hurry. You have to be careful. Not wonton noodles, you see. For the old wonton, put a little bit of filling in the center. Not much now. Whoops, that's too much. Oh, Lord, we'd never roll that thing up. There you go. Not too much. And then touch water on 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. 3 points, I should say, you see. Now, when you fold this up, 1 point goes towards the opposite. You must pull it back. You see what I've done? Pull it back so that you push out the air. Then you fold over the edge and over this edge, and you roll it up, and you have, well, what we call a cigar dumpling. Aren't they cute? They're easy to do. They're much quicker for the kids to do this. And when your kids cook with you, I want them to have a good time. So for heaven's sakes, don't bore them with some long, meticulous method of rolling a dumpling. Let's see what I have here. I'm ready. I'm going to add a bit of chicken broth now to my hot frying pan. So I've just browned these on one side. Oh, they're plenty brown. These are the fresh dumplings. And if I can soon find some chicken broth here. Here we go. Just put in a little bit of broth, not much. Just enough to get them going. You see what I've done? That was about half a cup. And I'm going to do the same with a pan full of cigarillos. Little cigar dumplings that I've done, you see? And that will finish the cooking. They've already browned in the bottoms. Ouch. There. Oop, ouch. Well, I'm not going to prove a thing because I'm burning my hand. All right. Let those cook for a bit. It's going to take, 2 or 3 minutes to brown them very lightly, and then about 5 minutes to cook in broth, and you want the broth to be absorbed by the dumpling. And then you have wonderful Chinese dumplings. In the meantime, I think our dumplings, let me get a bowl here. I think our dumplings are ready to be served. The fresh boiled dumplings. Let's see what I have. Yes, I think they're ready. They don't take very long. I'm going to use a cheater's method. This is an Italian dumpling rack. Isn't it fun? It's for making... Yes, they're fine. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Cost you a fortune in a good Chinese restaurant. And they're not going to be as good as yours because I grind my own hamburger, and I want you to do the same. Grind my own pork if I'm making pork dumplings. These are pork dumplings. There we are. There we are. This gadget I was showing is from Italy, and it's used for making gnocchi. Gnocchi, which is an old fat potato or vegetable dumpling. I'll show you those later on. I just love it. You can buy them made of stainless steel if you want. All right, let's put our first dumpling up. I would want to put a little bit of Chinese parsley in the top, perhaps, and some sesame oil and some hot pepper sauce. to make these really rich and good. But this is a boiled dumpling, and you eat them just like that. Now, the others are coming up to completion here, I think. Let's see. There we are. You see, the liquid is about boiled away. I think those are ready to go. Yes, they're fine. You don't want them to be soggy. For heaven's sakes, nobody wants a soggy noodle. So I'll just spread these out on a platter. There we go. Come here, move over you. And we'll put these out to serve too. This would be served not at the same meal. You don't want to serve boiled dumplings and fried dumplings at the same meal, but another example of what you can do with Chinese dumplings. Wonderful thing. Those are sometimes called pot stickers. And you dip them in a nice sauce. A wonderful sauce of, hot pepper and a little soy, that sort of thing. Now, on the front I have, unless we've burned everything up, let's try it and see, huh? Pot holders are going away. Oh, incidentally, if you're one of those kind persons, I don't know how to say this, well, I'll have to just tell you the truth. I bet I've received 18 truckloads of pot holders from people who worry about me. They're just so kind. But I've received them from lighting companies in Detroit and from dear ladies in Albuquerque who sit in the sunlight and crochet beautiful pot holders. And it's not that I need more pot holders. It's just that I can't find the ones I have. It has nothing to do with a shortage. It's something to do with lack of organization and perhaps stupidity. These are ready. These are the cigar. Let me throw these now. Hang top. There, look at that. Aren't they beautiful? Beautiful things. So I'm going to put those on another platter, and we have more dumplings. And you dip these in sauces. There we are. So delicious. Why the dumpling? Well, the dumpling was a marvelous way of extending a food product. If you had very little meat, you would extend it by wrapping it up in some dough, you see. And once the dough was filled, why, you could probably triple the number of servings you could get out of that amount of meat. You understand what I'm saying? My mother used to do that with rice when I was a kid. She called it Spanish rice. Believe me, that stuff had never been to Spain, but I still love it. Another thing you can do is to roll a wonton dumpling, and this time we're going to make a soup. If I can find yes, and all of us have tried wonton dumplings. Let me get the soup over here. There we are. This one's empty. This one should be empty. All right, let me put some wonton dumplings in the pot so that I can go ahead and roll them for you and show you how it works. These are very easy to do if you go ahead and go to your supermarket and buy the dumpling skins. Otherwise, it takes some time to roll the skins, and I really don't approve. I don't see the point in taking all that time. I'm going to leave the lid off of the pot now. Just plain boiling water. I'm going to make wonton soup for you. Let me show you how to properly roll a wonton dumpling. It's very, very simple. Here is the wonton. Get some batter here, some meat here. There we go. And a little water. All right, now we're set. Here is the wonton. It's a square noodle, you see? The same one I used a moment ago. Put a little bit of meat in the center, a little bit of filling. You can use hamburger, anything you like. And you touch two sides. Completely moisten two sides. Now watch closely. This is where I'm going to lose you. And I don't want to lose you. You fold the two dry sides over to the two wet sides. I haven't lost you yet? Good. Press out all of the air, or you'll have a great explosion in the pot. All right, now, turn it over so that now the straight side is opposite you. You want to wet one corner only, and then connect them. Now, the normal inclination is to do it this way. Well, you wind up with a little diaper. That's not what I want. What you want to do is to pull it so that the dumpling is connected thusly. See what I've done? Let me do that for you again. It's very, very simple. Moisten two sides of the dumpling, the skin. Put a little meat in the center. Fold it over. And press out all of the air. Once you've done that, turn it and moisten one tip only and pull it towards itself so that it causes tension on these sides. See what I'm doing? And that will hold the dumplings together. All right. They're in the pot, I hope. Let me see what's going on over here. Oh, whoops. Water's boiling too furiously. See that? You don't want to do that. Boil it gently. Now, if you're really a Chinese dumpling fanatic, you can boil these in soup stock. And that makes them even better. But I'm going to get my soup stock ready here. Let's see. Oops, over here. All right, soup stock's ready. Those are coming along. I wanted to boil them for a bit first, and I'll put them in my stock so that we can have a big bowl of wonderful wontons. I have memories of a fellow by the name of Dennis Fulton. And Dennis was the chairman of our university church committee years ago when I was the chaplain at the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma. And on days when Dennis was a great help to the university ministry and everything, and days when we were just exhausted, we would go to my home. Patty was at work, the boys were at school, and we would make dumplings, wonton dumplings for soup. One day he ate 48. I swear. So that's how good they are, and that's what I think you should do. Let me save this noodle bag. There we go. While those are cooking, let's go on to the next one here. I think we're done with the Chinese dumplings, aren't we? Yes. We're going to go on to ravioli. So let me cook these just for a moment. Oh, just a moment more. Put a lid on these. Ravioli is the same sort of thing. No. The Italians did not invent ravioli before the Chinese. We don't know what happened. We do know the Chinese were eating them a long time ago, but the history of pasta is very confusing. And I would hesitate to say that the Italians didn't invent ravioli on their own. It may be that dumplings came into Rome and Greece from the Middle East, because that is a common way of cooking in the Middle East. How the Chinese figured the thing out is beyond us. They had them before anyone. But it's probably not likely that the Italians and the Greeks, the Romans and the Greeks, got dumplings from the Chinese. They thought them up on their own. All right. Those are about ready. Let me show you something. This is more fun. This is a gadget. No, I don't want you to buy a gadget. I just want to show you this thing. Roll out your noodle dough, and we've done that before. And this is a ravioli press. Isn't this a scream? Look at it. You simply put the dough in on the ravioli press, put some holes in here. I hope I have time to do all of this. And the filling that I'm going to use today is made of chicken, poached chicken, so it's already cooked, and a bit of spinach and some cheese. See, there we are. And then press them down in there. And then moisten the top of this with a bit of a wet brush. Or you can use, there we are. You can use your finger, I suppose. Then you lay another noodle over the top. You seen one of these? Any good gourmet shop will have a little, what they call a noodle, a ravioli form for you. Press out the air. Put the other noodle on top. There we are. And seal it. Notice I kept mine covered with wax paper. My noodles. So I made these ahead of time from scratch. Then you take a little rolling pin and simply run it along the top, and it divides them up into little raviolis. This is a riot. So that when you flip it over, of course I didn't fill all of these, you understand that. But here are 3 nice fat ones, and you can cut them up with where's my little ravioli cutter? Here it is. You can take them apart with your ravioli cutter if you didn't press them through all the way. There we are. Or you can buy some gadgets. Look at the size of this rascal. This is a ravioli cutter. Look at how big that ravioli would be. How much larger than these? It's about 1.5 times the size. We're talking serious ravioli eater here. Serious dumpling lover. Let me get these out of the way and put some ravioli in the pot, because we have other things to eat. And time is drawing nigh to eat all of the dumplings that have come to our lives. One more. All right, the pot's going here. My ravioli that I've already prepared is here. You can fill them. We made some with cottagino one day. That's a wonderful sausage. Those are great. Or you can fill them with all sorts of things. I had, what is it called? Spiaggia here in Chicago. A very upper yuppie restaurant. Very nice place. Served me ravioli filled with pumpkin one day during the fall. It was all right. I think it was a little gimmicky, but not bad. It's a very good restaurant. All right. We're now back to our Chinese soup. And I'm going to simply put my wonton noodles into the pot here. There we are. There we go. Now, if you'd like some kind of vegetable in this, I would suggest perhaps some mustard green. You can throw that into the pot, but this is hot enough so that I think it's going to cook just as it is. And that was good chicken broth that I that I put them in the second time, remember? And I'm going to add some sesame oil. And the sesame oil will give it wonderful flavor. That's the secret to good soups in a Chinese restaurant. Just a splash, just a splash. And it doesn't need any salt, but I'm going to add just a tiny pinch. Doesn't need much salt. And on top of that, I'm going to put some green onions, chopped green onions. Where did I put them? Here they are. No, here we are. A chopped green onion so that we'll have a complete, there you are, have a complete dish. Okay. And we'll put out wonton dumplings, which are one of the most common dumplings in all of China. Now, in our pot, we have cooking. I've got another one coming here. We have cooking ravioli, which is a very famous dumpling from Italy. But remember that there are many others. Tortellini, which is Venus de Milo's belly button, the little round ones. I don't expect you to make those. You can buy them fresh in your supermarket, and that's all right. But this is something I think you should try. This is gnocchi, and gnocchi is a wonderful dough made, oh, this is so gooey, I don't even know how to show you this. Let me get some flour here. Here we are. Gnocchi is made of potatoes, mashed potatoes, and a bit of flour and an egg or two. I better get my fingers covered with flour. There we are. There we go. And you just pull this stuff up and roll it. Roll it into a long cylinder on your marble board. Then cut it into little bitty chunks. Just chop it into little chunks. I roll it out about the size of my finger. That size, you see. And then cut them into about half-inch pieces. And then you can throw these into boiling water. And you have gnocchi. Gnocchi is nothing but egg, flour, potato, mashed potato, a little bit of salt. I know it sounds like peasant food. You know why? Because it is peasant food. But look what you can do with gnocchi. You can make a batch of gnocchi and deep fry them. If I can find the platter, I'll show you this. Here we are from Italy. A dumpling that has no center, no filling. Come here, you. These have been deep fried. And if any of you little kids call these tater tots, I'm going to personally come to your house and disconnect your television. They're not that kind of a product at all, though that's similar. And it's interesting that there are American food products that look like the sort of things that we've had from previous times. Or if you want to boil these, let me throw some in the pot here. We're going to have much time for these, but let me throw a couple in the pot here for you. Where do we have them? Here we go. I've already cooked these. I've already boiled these, so it'll take just a moment to heat them up. And then we can show you some possibilities here. Just put a few in the pot. Because I love them with sauce bolognese, which is tomato sauce and a bit of beef gravy. Remember that one? We talked about that before. And a little bit of cream and maybe some beef. And you've got a wonderful dish. All right. Stir that one up. Let's see. Oh, ravioli done. What am I going to put in my ravioli? I don't like tomato sauce on ravioli. I like cheese and butter. Wonderful things. Can I have some butter, Craig? I don't see that. I think we left it in the microwave, didn't we? Terrific. In the meantime, while he's getting me some butter, I'm going to spread some chopped up, thank you, sir. I'm going to spread up some chopped up barbecued pork in my dumplings from China. Wonton, probably the most famous dumpling from China because everybody knows wonton soup, but if it isn't overcooked, it's very delicious. All right, now, a plate for my gnocchi, and the first one we're going to have is the ravioli. We'll grab that first, and then we'll do some gnocchi for you. But I don't want to put, oh, look how beautiful the ravioli are. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at their big fat pillows. Oh, Lord, they're big. This is served as a first course in Italy, not as a second course. And we'll put a bit of butter on it. There. Look at the butter. Oh, you're going to say, Smith, what happened to your frugal, quiet method of low salt, low fat? Well, I'll tell you, it's been a few weeks, kiddo. But now and then you just have to do this. There's ravioli with nothing but butter and cheese. Let me offer that to you. And now we'll pull the gnocchi. And the gnocchi's in this pot. Add a couple of these. Remember, my favorite one is simply butter and cheese. But you can also deep fry them. Or you can put a lovely sauce, bolognese, which should be, according to my calculations right here, and it is. Aren't I in luck? There we go. This is a wonderful sauce of tomato and beef and cream, parsley on the top. We have celebrated the dumpling. It's a very old food product. And I don't want you to think it's a cheap food product, even though it was peasant food in the beginning, I suppose. It's certainly not peasant food now. Not when we do fried dumplings from China, or boiled dumplings, or cigar dumplings, or a wonderful dumpling soup called wonton, or gnocchi, 2 ways, from Italy, or beautiful ravioli. These are dumplings, as they say in Brooklyn, to die for. Till I see you again, this is the Frugal Gourmet. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.